Okay, here we are. I'm back. Let's move this a little closer. Okay, sorry about that. That was it. Talking about the Castle, the synth. Again, lots of fun. Jumping right back into it. The other gift that I got, which was very nice from my folks, was a box set. Arrow Video is a company that, oh, that's just bright from that, hey? Arrow Video is a company that I've just kind of been getting into recently. They've been putting out a lot of fantastic movies. They have 2 volumes of this now. It's Seijun Suzuki, who's one of my favorite directors. This is how many movies? 1, 2, it's 5 movies. And they go from 1958. Looks like the earliest is 1958, then 1961, 1962, 1963, and 1965, plus a nice book as well with kind of just history on the movies and Suzuki himself. Seijun Suzuki had a lot of Criterion released a bunch of his stuff, including the infamous Branded to Kill, which is the movie that got him fired from Nikkatsu. He kind of directed B movies. He was given scripts and just told to go and direct these movies. But what he did with these movies, as far as kind of chopping up the story and doing some kind of just trying his hand at some different kind of editing, was more kind of akin to the French New Wave, that sort of style. And there was lots of like teenage rebellion in his movies and stuff, but he did cover a lot of different genres, Yakuza movies and stuff like that. Just really great stuff. That this era of movies, especially from Japan, I really like as well. And it's one of the beautiful things about the technology like Blu-ray and things like that and DVDs is you can kind of, a lot of these archives are being re-released to a whole new audience that's appreciating it a little differently than maybe it was when it first came out. I started watching the first movie. Didn't bring my glasses. Which one did I watch? Was it Teenage Yakuza? I think is the one that I started watching. But it was a heck of a late night, and I started watching it and passed out on the couch. So I haven't dug into this too deep yet. Yeah, really, it's going to be great. I know it will. He's still kind of, it's a little earlier on in his career, although by the time he hits 65, I want to say that Tokyo Drifter and Branded to Kill was probably around 65 to 67, somewhere around there. So you are kind of getting in with this box set. You're getting a little closer to his more kind of experimental-ish films, if you can call them that. So it'll be cool to just kind of get a sense of his career before he, you know, as he was kind of working his way up. A couple of books that I picked up for myself. I read this on Sunday, Inside Mobius, part 1, that Dark Horse is putting out. I think there's, what, 3 volumes? Is that what it said at the back here? Let me just flip through. Yes, looks like there's three volumes in 2018. I know that this, The Art of Edina has come out as well too. This was a really great read. I really enjoyed this a lot. Sort of his, from his description, sort of his journals, sort of a diary of sorts. He kind of put limitations on himself as far as the pace that he was to kind of draw these pages on a daily basis, and just kind of let the ideas flow, not really do much editing as far as the ideas, just kind of get them out there. In this first volume, the Twin Tower attacks happened, so he does talk about that within this. Everything really seems to be blown out, doesn't it, with like too much light. Maybe it's also partially just because it's coming from the screen. So he does touch on that terrorist attack and just interacts with his characters, which I think is really interesting. I really like it. You just get the sense of this artist at a completely different point. He even comes face to face with himself, his past self, and the whole while acknowledging that this is a comic book, this is a cartoon, this is bande dessinée or Desert Bee. He's completely self-aware of his place in this story and how it relates to us as a viewer. Really, really cool. I enjoyed it a hell of a lot. Again, one of those books that I picked it up to flip through it and just kind of started reading and couldn't put it down. It just it read very easily for me. Just really just flowed. Really, really liked it. A hell of a read. I do enjoy what Dark Horse is doing with the books. I have mild concerns about the binding on this one, but nothing that's going to ruin my life. It doesn't look like it's splitting or anything. I'm just not convinced about it just yet. Anyway, I'm glad that Dark Horse is taking on this mission of putting this stuff out. It'll be great to kind of follow through with them. The other thing that I picked up for myself from the bookstore, The Man from the Great North by Hugo Pratt, about Jesuit Joe. And this is IDW. It looks like on there. You can't see that. There you go, sort of. I haven't started it on this one yet. I just flipped through it. I saw some reviews on it. I believe it was Earl Grey talking about it. Also might have been Paulo Costa as well, too, if I remember correctly. Possibly Mind the Comics, if you're back. Forgive me if I am forgetting exactly who was talking about this. Looks great. It's about a Mountie. That's all you need. There you go, Canucks. Get on it. Yeah. Again, kind of a quick style, you know, not as polished, but gives it a little bit of character. Love the cover. And again, hardcover, cheap. Love it. It's great. Looking forward to that as well. I've been selling stuff, as I've talked about before, on Board Game Geek and on eBay and things. On Board Game Geek, there's a couple of games that I've had on my wish list. I have a wish list there of games to kind of keep my eyes out for if I find them cheap. A couple of them have popped up recently. They're both here now. And yeah, I don't play as much as I used to, but I am feeling the urge to get back into it. My son and a special sexy lady friend and myself are playing. My son got Pandemic Legacy Season 2 for Christmas. Hey again, how are you? Legacy Season 2. We haven't played any of the Pandemic games before, but when he asked for one of them, I was reading up about it, and you don't need to have played any of the other Pandemic games. You can jump right into Season 2. You don't even need to play Season 1. It kind of takes place in the Pandemic world, but they are standalone games. The cool thing about Pandemic Season 2 or Legacy Season 2 is that you play 12 months. Every month you play, there's changes that you make to the game. You'll be cued to open different little boxes that come with the game. You'll put stickers on the game board itself. You'll add new rules to the instruction manual as you're playing. You create characters as you're going. Your characters could possibly die and you'll have to create new characters. So it's a very interactive board game, which is great. So that one has kind of been dominating for us the past couple of weeks. And the game changes with you. So you get 2 shots at each month. So we failed the first half of January. There's an intro game and then you start playing the months. We failed the first half of January. So it's kind of, we got far enough where we unlocked certain parts of the game, but now we have to play the month again. And they give you kind of a chance to get a little bit ahead because you've lost. So we'll see how that happens. Anyway, that's an aside. The board game thing, one of the games that I played recently myself, there's a guy on YouTube, and I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. My apologies. Bluebotic, is that right? He's been playing the SPI Ares magazine board games, and he's been posting videos about that, although he hasn't been posting a video. He hasn't posted a video for a while. The last game that he was tackling was Star Trader. And because I know that game and how absolutely complex it is, I've never attempted it myself. I have a feeling that might have been a huge speed bump, which is why we haven't heard from him lately. Anyway, he played the Stainless Steel Rat was one of the games for one of the Ares, and it's a paragraph system game. So as you're playing, you're uncovering, there's a whole section with different paragraphs that you refer to, and you create a story as you're going, and it kind of a choose your own adventure to some degree, albeit a limited one. I guess all the choose your own adventures are limited, but that whole idea really appeals to me. And one of the games that was on my wish list that I got was this. It's called Ambush, and it's solitaire squad level World War II combat, France 1944. And this works in a very similar way. So you have, there's different scenarios that you can play, and inside there's different cards. I'll see if I can get at them easily. Comic stuff is coming, I swear. It's just this stuff is an aside. Yeah, no, I'm not going to be able to get to them easy. My apologies. I didn't prepare anything beforehand. Anyway, there's cards that go into a sleeve, and based on the hex that you're on, you refer to the card, you line up the letters and stuff. I still play Magic the Gathering online on a great pirate place. Okay, what's the site that you play on? I know there's a couple that you can download that I've looked into. So you refer to these, depending on what hex you enter, and depending on your scenario, you'll refer to these cards, and it'll take you to a different point in the book. So it's kind of opening up for you, and the story is unfolding as you're playing. And this one specifically, games like this, I do end up playing on my own. My son has played a couple of things with me. I think we played, we played the Wreck of the BSM Pandora. We played Kung Fu. We played Amoeba Wars. So we have tackled some of the Hex Encounter style games. It's just these games they're quite a bit more complex. And he doesn't always have, and again, a lot of the people in the house don't have the patience for it, which is fine. I totally understand. So that's why something like this appeals to me, because it's specifically for solitaire play, where some of the other ones that I've played, I've just had to create rule sets or find rule sets online that make the game a solitaire game. Xmage, yeah, you download it and it uses Java. All cards, great interface, all free. Interesting. There's one that I've looked into as well. And I don't seem to have it on my desktop. I don't remember what it's called, but it's a similar kind of thing where people create these modules for these games, and it's the same kind of idea. You can play online kind of like in a Skype way, where you just each see the game board. You can even do stuff where you can make a move and it'll send the moves to them through emails. So you can play over like weeks and months if you want one game, or you can sit and play kind of face-to-face sort of. A really great idea. And again, like the use of this technology to create these things. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I started reading the rules for it last night. This one, there's a bunch of videos that do exist online. So I've watched a couple of them. There's a lot of, there's a number of videos where people actually go through the scenarios. I haven't watched in that kind of detail because I don't want to spoil the games for me. When this came out, it was very successful. It spawned a lot of, other games in the series using this kind of system, this ambush system. There was a bunch of games that came out afterwards. I don't know if I'm going to go down that route because some of those are pretty pricey. this base game was pretty easy to find. It's just eventually finding one for a decent price. So yeah, I started reading this last night, and I'm looking forward to getting this on the table. What does it say? Yeah, so it's for one player, and playing time is from 3 to 4 hours per mission. Complexity is medium, solitaire suitability very high. So this is Victory Games, and I think it was 1983. I don't see it on the box, but 1983, I'm pretty sure is what it said in the manual. Yeah, that's quite a glare system going on there. Anyway, that's that one. And the other one that came in the mail today, this is kind of, it's almost like a Battleship as far as where each player has a map. It's a 2-player game. Each player has a map. You make your moves secret, and you're playing against each other in certain scenarios. This one kind of goes a little farther where it's not all combat kind of based. I think there's one where you're trying to, where one person plays the bank robbers and the other person tries to capture them. So this one is called City Fight, Modern Combat in the Urban Environment from SPI, and this one is 1979. And this one came today, and this one kind of scares me a little. There isn't any videos for this online. We have two, count them, two sizable books. This first one I think is mostly rules of play, and I think, does it have scenarios at the back? It's 60 pages long. Oh yeah, it does. So okay, so there's a lot of games, so that's good. What is it, about half of the book? Yeah, so probably about 34, 35 pages of rules, and then the rest of the book is scenarios. This whole book is charts and tables and special weapons and breakdowns of vehicles and that sort of thing. Yeah, this one kind of scares me a little, to be honest. Now that I've seen it face to face, this one is going to be complex. This one will be sitting for a little bit. I'm going to attempt ambush first. But the thing with some of these games, especially these old Hex Encounters, and I've talked about this on my other channel, just about the kind of the war simulation games. I have kind of mixed feelings about it. There's a lot of obviously war games out there that recreate some actual real world battles. I can understand why people play them. I totally get it. And especially some of the people that do play them, they end up playing the game, they end up reading books about the battles and the actual time, like history books. So they kind of meld the two. They kind of create a learning experience for them. Like, here's the book, here's what happened in history, and then here's the game, and we'll kind of recreate the battle and see how it would have felt, to some degree, like a simulation of it. So I get it. I just don't necessarily agree with it to some degree. I like the stuff that's a little more fantasy based, which is why we've kind of moved towards things like Cave Evil, for example, where it is kind of, it's a war game, but you're demons and there's all this kind of fantastical elements. It's not based off of anything real life. So these ones kind of border that for me. Some of the scenarios in Ambush will be set in real world. City Fight, I'm sure, will have some of that as well too. But I don't know, part of the appeal of some of these old games too is the design of stuff. Redmond A. Simonson being one of the people that designed, there's a quality to the kind of look of these games, the maps and the counters, that really appeal to me. And again, it's when I'm sitting and reading these books, I really do sit, and it really is kind of like learning a new language. When I first started getting into these war games, I don't know, it's just a different way of playing a game. It really is a completely new language to learn. Once you get into it, though, you can see a lot of similarities from, especially when it comes to rule sets to rule set. There's a certain layout that people use. There's certain organizational aspects to things. So you can kind of get a handle on it, and you get to a spot where some of the rules you end up skimming because they're kind of, the basic ideas are the same. It's kind of all the little details that change from game to game. So I can appreciate that. Just kind of flexes your mind a little bit in a different way that I'm not necessarily used to. But I do like it because the payoff can be huge, especially when you find a game that works really well, and you've kind of battled with it to try to even understand the game. Once it works incredibly, and it becomes this submersive thing, which I really do appreciate. Anyway, that's enough of that. I'm sure I've bored everybody to shit with that. So comics. Was lucky enough today. So I've had this for a little while now. I think I've talked about this before. Will Eisner's Spirit Color Album Volume 2 that I found locally and is in the collection. So it got the stamp of approval. I've been keeping my eyes out for other volumes just locally, and nothing has come up really. So I ended up biting the bullet, and I found them online. There's 3 volumes from Kitchen Sink. So the other 2 showed up today. So here's volume 1 with an incredible cover. There's the back there. So these, again, Kitchen Sink. So Denis Kitchen made a deal with Eisner and started republishing a lot of the Spirit stuff. And these stories span from, it looks like 1947 to 1981. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14 stories in this one. Yeah, so then there's just a little kind of backstory to it. And then they also talk about subscriptions to the bi-monthly magazine, which I have a few issues of as well. This is printed in Belgium, first printing September 1981. So it's the Spirit in color, as it says on the front, pretty self-explanatory. This is a pretty hefty volume. This one feels like the thickest of the 3 volumes, 94 pages in total. I'll show you some more of the pages. And these are in incredible shape. The guy packaged them really well, and they're in really beautiful condition. He took care of them, that's for damn sure. So I'm super excited to have all 3 volumes now and dig into some of this old Spirit. Will be great. So that's volume 1. And then volume 2 is what I showed you. And here's volume 3. There we go. That works, right? And what do we got in this one? Sorry, someone lurking out in the back lean. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, yeah, 14. So this one goes 1946, 1947, 48, 49, 50, and then the last story is 1975. So there's a look. There's a look there at what you get in this one. So yeah, these will be great. Hardcovers are doing it for me lately. I like the little bit oversized. I like the fact that they're hardcovers. Really amazing stuff. And then of course on the shelf, it'll be beautiful. So yeah, those are going up to the bedroom that I'll be reading them. I've been keeping an eye on this book for quite a while. There's a couple of books that I have bookmarked on eBay, and they're bigger books, and I have them bookmarked because I want to, eventually somebody is going to mislist them, or somebody's going to have a buy it now option or something that's going to be low, and I'm going to sneak in there. Yes, wishful thinking for the most part, but it does happen because it did happen. Not only did he have a buy it now, he had a make him an offer, which I did. So I even went like $10 less. He was also a seller that's in Canada from Montreal. He offered free shipping, whereas some of the other books that I'm seeing of this particular issue, they're going for big money, and then they want like $30 Canadian to ship it to you, which is a little bit mental to me. It is the first appearance of the Defenders, Marvel feature #1. And it's in beautiful shape, and I got it for an unbelievable price. The guy was incredibly nice, and again, shipped it for free. It was shipped really, really nicely. Not a concern whatsoever. So he didn't skimp. He didn't kind of put it in a paper envelope and shove it in the mailbox. He really took care to send it to me really nicely. So I'm super, super happy with it. Very, very excited about this. My son and I have been talking about it for a while to kind of read the Defenders. Like I said, I'm missing just a couple issues of the regular run. So now I have issue 1 and 2 of Marvel feature, so we can start this weekend, or not this weekend, next weekend, when I see him, which I'm super excited about. We've been talking about it for a while, so it's going to be great to kind of sit and read all these back to back, week after week. So very, very excited. A very cool book. Another one, another Daredevil checked off the list, issue number 88 with the Purple Man. I believe this is the Purple Man's first appearance. Is that correct? In really nice shape as well for a really good price. Yeah, the ones that I do have left, yes, there's ones like, you know, number 1 to 8, but it just seems like the other ones that where I have the gaps, they're a little bit of bigger books. So it is going to take a bit of time, because I'm not going to be shelling out a ton of money for these single issues in my hunt to collect all the Daredevil, or the first 300 anyway. So that puts me one closer. Good $4 book that I found, Plop number 18. Again, one book closer to finishing this sucker. Really excited about this. It's a fun book. I do remember, I've talked about it before, I do remember that I have had, when I was younger, I had a couple of the digest, or maybe just one of them. And then ETA Nick had talked about this in his video quite a while back now, and kind of just rekindled that. Oh yeah, I remember that book. It's a hell of a lot of fun. Really, really great. Two that I'm super super thrilled about. And again, it just goes to show that patience is the key with some of this stuff. The Spectre, this is issue number 4. Both of these books are in phenomenal shape. So there you go, issue number 4. And there was actually, I think there was 5 copies of this one. This one was in a grade. I asked them to, I wanted to see all of them. This one was the one that was kind of a great price, matched with a condition that I could really support. The Spectre number 1, phenomenal cover. It was really kind of cool to see all 5 of them side by side laid out on the table, checking them out. Love that cover so, so much. It's so great. Let's just soak that in there. Don't even really. Yeah, man, this camera, I'm happy with this camera. I gotta say, I'm assuming it's good on your end too, as I poke around the side. But I'm liking it from this side of the computer, and this is at night, never mind with daylight streaming in on me. A couple of cheapo House of Secrets number 124. Some child making a deal with the devil. Couldn't pass that cover up. Love it. Another one, just amazing. 123. That shit is just unbelievable. ridiculous. It's just ridiculous what they were doing on some of these books. And this one I thought was a beautiful cover as well too, number 121. The color on him in the foreground, not a color that you see too often. This kind of orangey brown tint overall. Oh, really? Image got funky as you touched the camera. Okay. Well, I'll make sure that I don't do that again. And then I'll just fire through these. The rest of this stack is unexpected. A boatload of unexpected. So 155. 166. Yeah, probably the autofocus. That always seems to be the thing, the autofocus with these cameras. It always just kind of stutters a little bit. I find even watching other people's videos, you do have that. The autofocus just doesn't cue in. 171. There we go. Yeah, I could see it adjust there, for example. Didn't know what to focus on. Focus what's in the foreground, camera. Just focus on that. If I have something here, focus on that. If I don't, focus on me. There you go. We'll come to an agreement, me and the camera. We'll get it sorted out. 203. 205. With Linda Blair as a small child running at this man. 206. Doom Patrol appearance. Not really, but reminds me of that anyway. 210. 213. 220. Great cover. Love that one. And finally, the final issue in the unexpected run, number 222, which looks great. Ridiculous covers. I tell you, yeah, I mean, they're just fantastic covers. Look at the devil. Look at the lines on his face. Look at the lines used to make up that image just on the devil himself. It's strange shit, man. And the face on the angel or whoever he is there. Crazy. Looks like a chunk of his head is missing there, the way that that's drawn, just to make sure you see his teeth. Really great. Yeah, that's about it, people. Thank you very much for tuning in on 2 occasions. Thank you very much for coming back to join me there, Mr. Mind the Comics. I will see you all very soon. That was it. Yeah, that's it. Right on. Thanks very much. We'll talk to you. Now let's see how this works. This one's for you, Adam. Does that work? That one, that.